Spoiler Sleepover is sponsored by Gore Clown Shop.
Do you love all things horror? Books? Movies? Podcasts? Of course you do. Well, come on down to goreclown.com.
Original artwork by an indie horror fan for indie horror fans.
Use code SLEEPOVER at checkout to save 15% on your whole purchase.
Oh, and did we mention? Gore Clown is the only place to get official Spoiler Sleepover merch.
So don't forget to use Sleepover to save 15%.
Stay indie, suckers!
I wish to create a perfect human being, selecting the best organs from different scorpions.
Welcome back, ladies, gents, and our non-binary friends, and that's right, I'm saying it, and we're back. We're back because we've been gone on season break because... Just
my
Michael, where the
fault.
hell have you been?
It's my
Where have you
fault.
been?
I'm sorry. I've been in the woods. I know usually that would sound like a horror fan's dream, but at the same point, working. But Rob has kept the Instagram and Threads, I think we're still on.
Yeah.
I would imagine...
And
I don't have
Facebook.
Threads. Yep, and Facebook. Honestly, I forget about my own personal Facebook. But Rob's been keeping the socials alive while I have been gone in the woods. But I'm very excited to get back to it, and a lot of editing for not only me, but stream in the near future. I'm so excited for it because I've missed this. I've listened to us over the summer, and I've missed this.
I've missed it too. Yeah, so we're back to actual vocal intros for the month of October. I hope you all enjoyed the brand new October theme song. And that's right.
Pretty spooky, man.
Yeah, so I made a new one, and I hope you dig it. I really do hope you dig it. And if you do, we'll figure out a way to make it a download so you guys can get it for free and make it a ringtone or some shit.
I hope you dig it like a grave.
Yeah, get dug in there, boy. But this is a bit of a different episode. We're not going to be talking about a movie. We're not going to be spoiling anything. We're going to do a little bit of a catch-up. First time really doing an audio catch-up. We've done them on lives. This is a really long break, and seeing as this is our second season, we kind of figured, you know what? Let's just fill everyone in and what's been going on. And we're also going to do something real special. And we're going to start off with that something real special. It actually sounded like we were going to do our guest. By the way, we have a guest, and we're not going to do him.
Damn it!
Damn it!
And that there is the voice of the amazing, extremely multi-talented Seamus Belial. Hey, Seamus, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are y'all?
Very
Can't
good.
complain.
What a name. What a name.
So, we wanted to bring Seamus on for one main reason, but we're also going to try our hand in interviewing because neither of us have really interviewed anybody on the podcast before. So, should be interesting. But we brought Seamus on. This is actually a huge announcement. If you are looking for our merch and you actually want a shirt or a trucker hat, you can jump right on over to Gore Clown. That's right. Seamus Belial, his own store, an independent horror lover who makes independent horror art that you can wear. If you've missed it, then you've been living under a rock. We repost his stuff all the time.
Yeah.
If you follow up me personally, I repost his stuff all the time. His art's fucking dope. And he has individually and specially designed a shirt for us. It is an official Spoiler Sleepover shirt.
It looks fucking badass.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing. This all being said, this excitement comes with a little bit of somber. We did part ways with our sponsorship with Vegan Curious, not for any bad reason. Anna is just going a very different direction with her business and her company, and it was not beneficial for either of us. Us advertising, hey, go check out a farmer's market, doesn't really work. And especially if you live in, Texas or anywhere outside of New England where she does all of her stuff. But that brings a lot of excitement and collaborations to come in the future with us now being sponsored and teaming up with Seamus Belial and Gore Clown.
And we also wish Anna the best in all of her future endeavors because, if you haven't tried any of her baked goods, why, first off, but second off, if you're able to get to any farmers markets, you should definitely try Vegan Curious Kitchen.
Yeah. She posts every month, the beginning of the month, where she's going to be on what days, and the times. So farmers markets always have weird hours. Yeah. Sometimes they're stupid early and they end stupid early. Sometimes they open and end at a more reasonable time. But if you're in the New England area, absolutely go take the trip. Or if it's right around the corner, just walk around the corner. Go try Vegan Curious. Anna's amazing. And if you're from out of the state and you're like, I really want this stuff and I want to try it, reach out to myself or Jason Michael and we will run out, grab it, and send it to you because you do need to try it. But that's enough of that. So, Seamus.
Yes.
That was so cheery.
I've been in an excellent mood all day. It's my day off, so it makes sense. But I had this to look forward to. I was texting with Rob earlier. I finished a new story.
Ooh.
And I just the other day finished up my next novelette, and I have that. My editor's reading through it, and that's going to release next month.
Hot damn.
Fuck
awesome.
Yeah. So before we jump into the writing, why don't you tell us a bit about Gore Clown and what brought you to want to create physical art that you can wear? Because I don't think I've even asked you, and we talk pretty freaking regular. I think actually almost every day. So what brought you to want to do this? What was the inspiration?
So it started with, and I don't make New Year's resolutions per se. But towards the beginning of the year, my wife and I were talking with the kids, and instead of saying resolutions, what goals do you want to set for yourself this year? What reasonable goals do you want to set for yourself? And one of mine was to create more art. When I was younger, I drew a lot and I was pretty good at it. And I wrote poetry. I was in a band. I wrote lyrics. I wrote short stories. And then I stopped doing all these things somewhere along the way. Oh, I know when it was. It was when I found food, and so alcohol took that all over. And so when I quit, I started looking for things again. I went back to writing, and it's worked out very well for me. I love it. But I've been doodling and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I want to push that a little further. And my goal for this year was to create more art. And so I started drawing again, and I drew Art the Clown. I drew Victor Crowley, and one of the things that I drew a spiked bat with tattoo style with the ribbon on it. And I wanted something on the ribbon, and it was not too long after my last year's Halloween story for Camp Nightmare had been read, and the phrase Gore Clown had come up. And I really, really latched onto that phrase. And so I wrote Gore Clown on there, and I posted it on my Instagram. And a lot of people saw it, liked it, and they're like, dude, that'd be a cool sticker. And I was like, that's a good idea. And then somebody else was like, I put that on a shirt and wear it. And so that kind of started that idea. And then I kept thinking about it, and I was like, let me draw something else. And then it was getting it onto the shirt. I had to self-teach myself vector art to do it. And then once I started thinking about more, I was like, you know what? I can do this. I started thinking about it more seriously, and that's where I thought of the idea for the logo. So I texted JB. I was like, gave him a picture of myself. I was like, do a face like this. I have an idea. And so he sent me that, and I vectorized it and made him the Gore Clown.
Hell yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, I remember when you posted the bat on your Instagram too, and I was like, yo, what?
Same.
Because I honestly, the minute you posted it, I was just like, what is he coming out with now? Is this the next story? How far is he going to go with this one? But it is, I mean, honestly, you hit the ground running with the art that you were dropping for that too, and concept designs and the inside jokes. I mean, if you're a fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you get the shirt sort of situation. But if you don't, then it's like, who the fuck is this guy and why are you so mad at him? Like,
he has it coming, that's why. Yeah,
I mean, you spit that much at the air, you deserve a chainsaw directly to the chest, no matter what you're seated in. That's awesome, man. Like, I genuinely, anytime I see there's a post that you're making, I get excited. I have you set for notifications on Instagram, so I'm always just like,
that's awesome.
All right, what is he going to do now? Personally, I'm honored that you have taken us on and have made us a one of a kind, and I'm so amped for the three of us to like sit down and like brainstorm ideas together in the future. But
hell yeah,
it's an amazing story. Jason Michael,
sir,
you had a wonderful question to start this off with. That's besides the Chloro Clown situation, I believe.
Yes. So I've you're gonna hate me, but it's the most basic bitch of questions. But I feel like the listeners should definitely know what influences you.
Ooh.
Oh shit! Oh, I thought you were going to ask me what my favorite horror movie was, and I was like,
do you like chocolate or vanilla ice cream?
That'd be super fitting for this season, though.
I guess when it comes to Gore Clown merchandise, I kind of think of like, I don't know, like kind of old band merch and stuff like that. But then I also think of like, I like the idea of like kind of a centralized logo type thing and stuff like that. I also have the challenge of working within my ability because, like I said, I did self-teach myself to make vector art, and I get compliments, but at the same time, I know I see other things online. I'm like, oh, I don't know how to do that. That's beyond me. For now, I've grown a lot in that regard. On a broader scale, like with my approach to my art, whether it's visual or writing, I think it's very, very clear. Like, I'm very influenced by slashers, trauma. That's where I got the Bizarro splatter smut. It's
what a name.
Horror, slashers, and porn influence. Like, think of all the things that people don't like in the world. Like, as far as like movies and like art and like the music I listen to, like it's all death metal and gory, and I just take that.
Now, do you normally like watch or listen to any of that while creating? Like, do you have like or Napalm Death on in the background while making anything?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
It depends. Sometimes if I'm familiar with it, like for example, earlier I was writing and I was listening to the Silver Scream album by Ice Nine Kills because it has Thank God It's Friday and it sounded appropriate. And I just got it on vinyl. So I was listening to it. I had to turn it off, though, because I know all the songs. And so I'm sitting here trying to type. And then I like go off into singing songs land. So then I'll offer something either that I'm less familiar with or that is just instrumental. Like,
okay.
I got Fat Mike Get Strung Out. I have, when it releases, I'm going to have the RZA from Wu-Tang Clan is putting out an orchestral album called Ballet Through Mud.
Yeah, buddy.
He's conducting an orchestra.
Wow.
Yeah. So I love things like that because I can hear it. I can still get influences. But then when you strip away the lyrical aspect, it doesn't distract me as much.
Okay.
I'm the same
way. That was sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with like sometimes if you want to like create something or whatever, if you have things with lyrics that sometimes it'll just be like, oh, I'm focusing on that. Fuck, it's been 45 minutes.
That's me reading. I can't read if there's, vocals in the music. It has to be an instrumental.
Yep.
And I have to pair it too, depending on what I'm reading. So like I was reading, I forgot the author's name. I read Man, Fuck This House. And it's Brian something. I can't remember his last name right now. But the book's But the entire time I was listening to I put on Animals as Leaders at first because I was just like, yeah, let's make this. But it just doesn't work. So I legitimately listened to Bach. I was just like, it's this family trying to make a home. And I was just like, what would be more haunting than Bach? So I straight up listened to fucking classical.
No, oh, dude, I love Bach. I saw some post online, like on Instagram, and it was like, if you could like bring one musician back from the dead, who would it be? And people are like, like Kurt or Chester or Biggie or Pac or whoever. I was like, Johann Sebastian Bach. Introduce that motherfucker to what we can do with music now. Electric instruments. Give him an electric harpsichord and run it through a distro pedal or something. Yeah. And I'm like, because that dude was writing banger fucking metal tracks. Listen to the Brandenburg Concertos. And in fact, Randy Rhoads, the intro to Crazy Train is stolen from Bach. There's a whole story Ozzy tells about it. How he was like, we're using that. And Randy's like, it's Bach. We can't. He's like, we're nicking it.
I've never heard of that.
I got some research for tonight.
Randy would get tutored everywhere he went. He was a classical guitarist, and he constantly got tutoring and training. And Ozzy heard something while they were practicing, and he's like, what is that? Keep that. And he's, Ozzy, we can't. It's Bach. And he goes, I don't care. We're taking it. Crazy Train.
Oh, my God.
And if you listen to that intro, thinking about Bach, you're like, oh, yeah, this would fit anywhere in the Brandenburg Concertos.
Wow.
Think about that. It's a harpsichord track.
Holy shit, it is.
Why did Seamus take us to school tonight? What the hell?
He always does. Always does. It's that or filthy memes.
Yeah, I got you covered there too, don't I?
You sure do. Somebody who matches my humor level perfectly. If it's dark, it's gross and disturbing, you got me. So we have mentioned it a few times. You've brought it up yourself. You are an author, an indie horror author, novellas, short stories. You've written some stories for our parent podcast, Camp Nightmare. You've got another one coming out. I'm not going to say anything. That's your place to do. But I have two questions. They're kind of deep questions, but genuinely, like, I'm curious. So what kind of process do you go through to get into the mindset of like the characters and situations that you create?
A lot of it, I can't say a lot of it because I write some pretty absurd situations, but like little microscopic pieces I can pull from personal experience. Like going back to release before last, Finger Bang Fang Fuck. That starts off with a dude going to essentially he's a recovering or he's trying to recover from alcoholism, and he ends up going to a support group. I could write that all day long. I know that. Now, when it gets into the more extreme or absurd aspects, just kind of got to take that, like, if I was in that situation, or, maybe not that specific situation, but if it's calling for, like, if something shocking and out of nowhere happens, when did that happen? How did I react? Or how do people react in general? And I can, we all have that common human experience. So we can generally identify things. That's why it seems so absurd to me sometimes when people are like, I can't empathize with, like, no, you choose not to, because you know what this is like, or how you like to have something taken away. You know what it's like to have something awesome happen or something terrifying happen. We can work within that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, out of all the stories of yours that I've read, Finger Bang Fang Fuck is by far the one that I related to. As absurd and like out of fucking control it gets.
It is fucking ridiculous.
So the intro to that book of him, like that hesitation, like knowing you need the help, like the character is hesitating. And like, I was desperate to get sober. I was desperate for help, but I fucking hesitated. Like, I was so hesitant, and I was really like, I feel like it's normal, but I was so standoffish, sat in the back, like all of that, and getting that and being like, reading it, because I've read so many stories and books in the past about recovery or like, going through programs and stuff. And you can tell that this is written by somebody who's never fucking done it. And you're like, dude, this is fucking fictional. Like, even if the story is fictional, you're like, no, that's not how this works.
You've
like,
seen it before in movies. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was so strange to be like, oh yeah, I absolutely relate with this dude. And then the reveal happens and you're
And
like,
then all of a sudden you didn't relate with
Yeah.
him so much.
I was like, I have no idea what that's like at all.
I do not know this man.
But
No.
yeah, your writing still is. I mean, it was an inspiration for me to get into reading because I have trouble reading big books. Anything over like 200 pages, I nope out of real quick because my focus is shit.
yeah.
I was like, I plowed through like all of your shit in, I mean, it took me 2 months, but I read everything and I was just like, I can do this. I can do more of this. I definitely can do more of this.
Well, and the thing is, like, finding what works for you as far as writing style, because, like, right now, I am just almost to the end of the second book of the Fellowship of the Ring. I'm going to make it through the trilogy. That's not my style. Tolkien, phenomenal writer, but it's so slow paced and it's difficult for me to get through. I prefer fast paced, engaging. I got Chuck Palahniuk, I got Hunter S. Thompson.
Yep.
You know, that kind of like visual, engaging, fast paced writing style keeps me, and that has influenced a lot my approach to how I write stylistically.
That's awesome.
That was like Augustin Burroughs for me because he writes so like memoir style, you know, an entire book filled with like 8 stories of his life and, you know, another dude in recovery, and his writing is just amazing. He's got a way with words for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, he's great.
Oh yeah. Fucking fantastic. So yeah, my final question, they kind of lead into each other, but as an indie horror writer, what are your hopes and dreams for the art that you create?
I kind of just want to get it out there for people, you know, like writing and running a web store are not my full-time jobs. And
Right.
I don't approach it from an entrepreneurial, a money accumulating perspective.
English is difficult for me too. It's okay.
Jeez Louise. You know, I started writing more for me because I wanted to get these stories out, and it was kind of a challenge. Like, get this published. You can publish. And I found Godless, and I want something on Godless, and I got there, and so that was like a little thing for me. And I priced my stuff very low. They're shorts. They're on the shorter end. They're quick reads. I'm not looking to sell somebody a 10,000 word story for $20. You know, I'm not. It's not about making money. It's about engaging in this horror community, this indie community, and being part of that and contributing to it. And the same thing with the web store. People were like, hey, I want that on a shirt. I want that on a sticker. I'm like, hey, I could do that. But my shirts are $25, free shipping. I have seen other places that I know for a fact use the same distributor that I do. So they pay the same exact costs that I do, that are charging $30, $35 plus shipping, because they're running a business to make money and da-da-da-da-da. I'm not. After all is said and done, when I sell a shirt, I think I make $1.50 is my takeaway from that. And I'm fine with that because I'm not trying to pay bills with it. I'm just trying to get a little extra cash so I can buy some vinyl or, you know, some horror memorabilia. That's all I'm in it for. And that's good enough for me. I'm not, and particularly with the store, it's even changed a little bit more where it's less about me coming up with an idea and getting my own stuff out there. I have found it as a way to help out fellow indie horror creators, whether it's podcasters. I got Dylan on there with his film stuff. I got Brent on there with his writing. And I love being able to show other people's work to whatever audience in that way.
That's awesome. And
what a fucking nice guy.
Yeah. And this is why
Up until you get to know me.
I had said, I had told Jason Michael time and time again, I said, look, we both want merch out there. It's just a pain in the ass to make it happen. And I was like, I think it was like 2 months straight. I was just like, maybe we should talk to Seamus. I was like, no, because I know why he's doing, like, I know that he's not in this to make money, because you've made that clear to even me when I was just like, oh, so what are you getting out of it, sort of situation. And I was like, he's such a good dude. Like, I know how he functions with Godless too. Like, I was like, we got to keep this within the family on top of all of that.
Nice.
All right. Well, this has been awesome. I can speak for both of us. I feel we're both so amped. The merch is live as of this recording. Where this was us just really like getting it out there. You already have seen that the merch is live. We announced it a week ago at this point. And it is out there. Dropped September 22nd. You can get it, and don't forget to use our special code Sleepover, and you'll save 10% on your order. Ooh, wrong.
Hold on, let me.
I couldn't remember.
I was letting this man cook.
You are wrong. Say I'm a nice guy and then make me look like some cheap asshole. 15% with code Sleepover.
All right, so the code was right, though.
Yeah.
The code was right.
All right.
All right. We're
Except for
leaving
the
all that
fucking
in.
numbers.
Leave all that in.
Deal.
So it is 15% using code Sleepover at checkout, and that's for your whole purchase. So don't just buy our hat and our shirt. Go check out the rest. Support all of Seamus's art. Support other artists. If you don't know what Dylan does, if you haven't seen Tahoe Joe, if you haven't seen any of his other movies, you're fucking missing out. They're all on Tubi. I think they're somewhere else now too. Last time I checked, I think they're on Prime.
He did a short piece for an anthology on Prime, and he'll have to kick me later for forgetting the name of it. His portion, if I recall, is called The Protector. It's phenomenal. And the guy that was putting together the short anthology series, he wanted kind of like cheesy, kind of a throwback anthology with some, kind of out there pushing some of the buttons and boundaries, and Dylan nailed it with his piece.
That's his bread and butter right there, is just out of the norm. But yeah, please, this isn't just us being like, buy our shit, man. This is us really putting the forefront out there, getting Seamus on here to be like, yo, support indie horror, support indie artists.
Yes.
That is, we are indie as fuck. Like, we make no money. Everything that we have done thus far has been out of our pockets. And we're doing it for the love of the podcast. We're doing it for the love of our listeners, our friends, our family, our followers.
It's a full-time hobby, and we love it.
And I wouldn't trade it for the world. This is probably some of the happiest moments of my day every time I get to sit down and record. But Seamus,
it's about talking with your friends and like being a contributor and part of this community, the horror community, specifically the indie horror community.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, Seamus, thank you for having us as part of Gore Clown. Thank you for coming on. This has been awesome. We're definitely going to have you come back for season 3, because season 3, you're going to love it.
I hate it already.
You're going to love it. We're going to have you come back for an episode, for an actual spoiler this time. But thank you so much, brother. I love you. You rock.
Thank you all. Love you too.
Thank you so much, Seamus.
All right.
Take care.
Spoiler Sleepover is sponsored by Gore Clown Shop.
Do you love all things horror? Books? Movies? Podcasts? Of course you do. Well, come on down to goreclown.com.
Original artwork by an indie horror fan for indie horror fans.
Use code SLEEPOVER at checkout to save 15% on your whole purchase.
Oh, and did we mention? Gore Clown is the only place to get official Spoiler Sleepover merch.
So don't forget to use Sleepover to save 15%.
Stay indie, suckers.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our first ever interview and a nice chat with Seamus Belial about Gore Clown and his writings. I think we did pretty decent for our first interview of sorts. It was
I mean, I think the thing that just made it easy for us, we'll see what happens in the future when we get more people, hopefully one day, celebrities, but more specifically we were just talking with a friend.
Yeah.
I think that's what made it super simple and super easy, that we were just talking with somebody that we talk with all the time.
Yeah, literally, I
Made it super easy.
talk with Seamus on a daily basis. Like there's rarely a day that goes by that I don't communicate with him. So yeah, it was great. It's always awesome to like, you talk with people on a day-to-day basis. You know a lot about that person, but there's still things that you just don't know because you know them as a friend. And there are some things you just don't think to like ask about. So yeah, it was really cool to get this insight into like his brain as a creator, as an artist and an author. It's awesome. But this is our We're Back episode. So we're just gonna kind of just chit chat. There's no spoiler. I know we've already said it, but there's no spoiler in this one. This is just kind of giving you an insight into what we've been doing during our season break. And we're going to chit chat a little bit about the interesting experience we had at Silver Screen Con. Yeah. So why don't you lead this one? So you are, as everyone knows, we take our season break when you go off to camp, and you bring your spooky with you. So what exactly happened at camp that you can actually talk about?
I am planner of activities, so I get to plan a bunch of stuff for everybody to do. More specifically, I like to incorporate a little bit of spookiness to it. So we did a Bigfoot activity as well as a classic returner that now we're on. I think that was our 4th version. We play Horrified, the horror board game based on the Universal Monsters for at least version 1. We play the Universal Monsters Horrified at camp and turn everything spooky. We have monsters run around and chase people, and it's awesome. But that's pretty much what has been happening with me, spooky things wise, during the summer. Occasionally I might pop on a nice horror movie and feel like a couple months away is not that far away. But yeah, that's pretty much what has been happening up there. Rob, you've been super busy on your end. Want to talk about some of that?
Yeah, I mean, my busy has been, honestly, we haven't been recording, but
No.
That has not stopped me from making sure that I've got things planned, getting ready for way ahead of time, getting ready for season 3. I've got big plans. So, but also just keeping the pages alive, making sure that we're good there. I mean, I've been doing family stuff, lots of trips. My brother and I took a nice trip to good old New Jersey to go wait in line for almost 3 hours to try and buy some imported Japanese Gundam kits. Most of the kits were sold out by the time we got there, which was a bit of a bummer for him. Just because he is a collector, he's been to Japan multiple times, so he buys the stuff when he goes there. And knowing that there were kits that have come out since the last time he's been there, and they were sold out, my heart broke for him. But I ended up getting my hands on 2 of the 9 kits that I wanted because they had not sold out.
Still so many kits though, bro.
Yeah, but they're awesome. So yeah, that's the new thing that Rob is latched onto is building Gundam. It's just so attention oriented. Like,
is there a Gundam horror? Probably in the anime verse, I'm guessing somewhere.
I mean, there's, depending on the show you watch, there's horror like aspects to some of them, but for the most part, not really.
Like Attack on Titan.
Yeah, no, God, no. No, I mean, there is a series that I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, it's called Born Blood or something along those lines. Anyway, the entire series focuses on these orphans who are raised from birth, basically, to just be killing machines. So they're trained as children to operate Gundams to only kill. And so there's like an opening scene where there's a child piloting a Gundam and fighting one of the bad guys, and he busts out the front of the bad guy's suit, pulls him out, like the human operating the suit, pulls him out and just crushes him into a bloody mist. That's Gundam. There's a lot of Gundam shows that are out there. I haven't watched too many. The original series is almost unwatchable. It's I mean, it came out in like 70 6 or something like that. It's hailed as one of the worst Gundams, even though it's the original, just simply because, the story was written and created by this one dude, and the show wildly went off in a completely different direction. So the guy who created Gundam doesn't even like the original show. I've been trying to figure out where to start, because there's different universes and different storylines and stuff. So if you see all the Gundam shows, they'll have different names. They're all different stories. But there's a line that's called Gundam S or Gundam Seed. Those are exact quote from my brother. Yeah, okay, if you like mech melodramas. And I was just like, in what sense? And he was like, it's along the lines of Sailor Moon. And then he realized who he was talking to. And I was just like, sounds like it's my speed.
Keep going.
Yeah. So I'm going to be watching those. But speaking of watching things, I don't know if y'all should be proud of me or scared for me. But I finally just said, fuck it. I'm going to do it. I am working my way through the Conjuring universe. If that sigh wasn't a tell, I'm just doing it. I have mentioned and said this on the podcast time and time again that I have tried and I have not liked what I've seen, but I've also said that just because I don't like something doesn't mean that I will not continue to watch or listen, because you never know when that thing is going to change. There's been plenty of bands that I hated for years. I was like, this is unlistenable music. And then randomly out of nowhere, they drop an album and you're like, what? Why have you been doing this the whole time? This is amazing. So I feel like at some point there's going to be a Conjuring Universe movie that I watch that I'm like, yo, what? Why haven't you been doing this the whole time? So far, I've watched The Conjuring 2, I've watched Annabelle, and I've watched Annabelle Creation.
And La Llorona, right?
Well, yeah, but I saw La Llorona around the time that it first hit streaming, because I don't think it got too much theater play. So I saw that around the time it came out. And it was the one that I did enjoy, even though it was whitewashed as shit. Yeah, it's still, it's a decent film, which is funny because most people that I say, oh, I actually kind of liked it. Everybody who also likes the Conjuring universe is like, that's the worst of the movies. What do you mean? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't,
damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, but I mean, it just, in my opinion, La Llorona had heart. You connected with all the characters, which I can't say so far from what I've seen. You can't really connect with any of the characters in the movies I've seen so far. Conjuring 2 was, I'm not going to go too deep into it, because if you really want to go deep into it, please go back and listen to the Conjuring 2 episode that Jason Michael did with our guest co-host. But it was too much in one movie. And on our drive to Silver Screen Con, Jason Michael and I had the discussion a bit about it. And in my opinion, if we focused on Bill Wilkins the entire film and didn't bring in the fucking nun, a demon, and the fucking Crooked Man.
The Crooked Man.
I think the movie would have been actually on our rating scale. I'm just going to re-quote myself. I would have given it a 6, honestly, because it would have been good. There was one really cool scene in the movie where the girl is out of focus in the background with water in her mouth, and she slowly, morphs into Bill Wilkins. It was the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. I leaned forward in my chair. I was like, yo, what is happening? This is awesome. But one scene in an entire 2-hour and blah, blah, blah minute movie is not really worth it, in my opinion. Annabelle Creation sucks ass. It is fucking terrible. That's all I'm going to say. Waste of fucking time. Do not watch it. But Annabelle, surprisingly, wasn't terrible, although it was a direct fucking ripoff of Rosemary's Baby. To the point that the apartment they move into is the fucking apartment from Rosemary's Baby. I think that pissed me off more than anything, and the ending was shit. They wrote themselves into a fucking corner with that movie, and then we're just like, how do we end this? And they were like, throw somebody out a window, call it a day. I was like, okay. So I have a coworker who has been suggesting which movies to watch next, sort of thing. So I've just been following what that coworker's been telling me to do. So I forgot to ask them what ones to watch this weekend. So I watched Annabelle Creation on Friday night and haven't watched shit since because I don't know what to watch next. I think I might just take the initiative and watch one of them, but I also, that my coworker has me watching in a specific order, but I also have words to have with them because they said Animal Creation was awesome. It fucking was not.
Could this be the stop of Rob going through the Conjuring franchise? Tune in next week to find out.
I'll tell you, no.
It won't be next week.
Yeah. No, I will not. I'm going to watch everything that's out. Honestly, I think tonight, on the night of this recording, I probably will just bite the bullet and get from what everyone has said, the worst of the worst movies out of the way. I think I'll just watch The Conjuring 3.
Oh. I think it's so bad that I forgot that it existed when I just thought of The Nun. Jesus. Yeah, fair.
Which is
very fair.
It's funny you bring up The Nun because my coworker who loves the Conjuring universe hates The Nun. Like, straight up, they're like, nope, worst movie. Terrible, unwatchable, so bad, but you're going to watch it. And I was like, God damn it. I was like, yeah, you're right. I am going to watch it. I need to, I'm trying to do better at not judging so quickly, I guess, which is I've been doing with this entire universe since Annabelle came out. I was just like, I don't get the jump scare shit because that's really all it is. But seeing a repeated pattern in all of these movies of, we're going to foreshadow like 6 things at the start of the movie. And then throughout the movie, moments that you think things are going to happen, nothing's going to happen. And then we're going to repeat that one thing over and over again in a single scene. For example, Conjuring 2, the boy, the son hears a noise, the train in the hallway in the tent, right? Mm. And he pushes it into the tent and then he goes into his bedroom. And the camera does this, like, it's showing him, like, get into bed on the left side of the screen, but the camera's, like, down the hallway. And the camera slowly starts to shift to the left. And the kid gets out of bed. And nothing happens. And then he gets back into bed. He does it 5 fucking times in a row. And they're trying to build this tension. And it's just like, you don't need to do this 5 fucking times. No tension's built. After the second time, I was just like, nothing's going to fucking happen. And then the fire truck rolls into the room. And I'm like, was this necessary at all? No, it fucking wasn't.
The payoff.
But yeah, they do that in all the movies. Like, there is a set pattern to how they set up everything for all of these movies, at least so far in all of the movies that I've watched. It's rinse and repeat. Here's a new story, but the same fucking approach. And that gets really old really quick. So, yeah.
That was the most we've talked about the Conjuring universe since the Conjuring episodes that you were not in. I know we've talked about it briefly on the show, but I do not think it was even as long as that was.
Yeah, even the Conjuring episode that I did in season 1, we barely even talked about the Conjuring.
Yeah.
It sucks so bad. We went into a fucking tangent about the fucking MCU, for fuck's sake. And I'm not even a fan of the MCU. So, like...
Look at you. You're growing up.
I'm trying, man. I just feel it feels weird to be a fan of horror and completely disregard a giant universal fandom and come at it with disdain and knowing that the disdain's coming from watching a movie and a half. It just doesn't seem fair. And
yeah.
If I'm going to judge something, I want to judge something from the point of view of I've seen it. And so far, there's been all the movies except for Annabelle Creation have had moments where I've been like, oh, it's kind of cool. But they all happen at a midpoint in the film where I'm already like noping out on them. I'm like, this is not good. I'm not enjoying this at all. And then they throw one thing in there. I was like, oh shit, this is kind of dope.
Then be prepared for 3 where the devil made me do it. Cause I'm pretty sure the only cool thing is in like the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, I have gone,
and it's 2 hours and something. I'm pretty sure
I've gone into all of these with no expectation. Like, I had to get the size out of this is going to suck ass before I hit play on Annabelle. just simply because I was like, I'm prejudging this before I actually watch the entirety of this film. And it's not a fair way to approach something. So I went in with an open mind. And I think that may have shifted my perspective on it a little bit. I did the same thing the following night watching The Conjuring 2. I went in with it like open-minded, actually kind of excited because I was just like, all right, maybe there's a hope here. And I don't know. I'm going to keep at it. I'm going to watch all of them. The entire universe will be consumed. But yeah,
whether you want to or not.
My main plan is to get them all done before October 1st because, as you've already seen at this point, I have dropped our 31 for October watch list. And this is the list that Jason Michael and I have put together for you suckers out there to watch along with us because we will be watching these movies as well.
And the Conjuring universe ain't on it.
No, God, no. Movies and episodes of shows. I should be more specific. Jason Michael is so kind as to give us breaks on days where we only have to sit down for like 22 minutes. So,
are you kidding me? Scooby-Doo's terrifying.
No, I mean, it's great. It's just not a full-length movie, which is nice to take a breath and be like...
just watch it about 6 times. Feature length right there, baby.
So, yeah, I want to get the Conjuring universe out of the way before October hits because I don't want to bring that shit into October with me. Jason Michael, have you been watching anything that's kind of out of the norm that isn't fucking Metalocalypse?
No. I have restarted Psych, the James Roday Dule Hill psychic detective show from like, God, I don't even remember the network it was on. USA. Yeah. It was on USA. Yeah, so it's just really cool going back and like remembering those episodes from when I was younger and going like, oh shit, I'm retaining all of this even though I haven't seen it in like 10, 15 years. So that's always a feel good thing. Movies, I've saw Deadpool and Wolverine over the summer. I thought it was fantastic. Also saw, we talked about it in Excitement. We're still going to do a spew about it, but In a Violent Nature.
Yep.
We're not really, I have a feeling I know where it's going, but we're not going to talk about it until that spew. So stay tuned for that.
Yep. Yeah. I actually, speaking of rewatch shows, I've been rewatching Trailer Park Boys.
I could tell by the gifts you sent me yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, that show's just awesome. You can see that quick change from when it was like a a fucking Canadian show solely on Showcase to when Netflix bought it out. Like the tone and the camera quality, everything fucking changes so quickly, but it's such a good goddamn show. It's so fucking funny.
I started watching, I think I got maybe 3 or 4 episodes in, and I didn't stop because I didn't like it. I just turned it off one night and then watched something else the next day, and it's gone into the recesses of, will I watch it?
Honestly, like the BBC and Canadian television is some of the best, especially when it comes down to comedy.
Yeah.
They really knock it out of the park. Like I'm pretty sure like my mind's already kind of made up once I finish this rewatch of Trailer Park Boys. I'm going back to rewatch Letterkenny, and because the show is just perfect. It's such a good show.
I'll eventually start that one.
Yeah. Oh man, you got it. Letterkenny's an easy watch too because the episodes are like 20 minutes long. Like you can breeze through all however many seasons of that show there is in like a day. It's
nice.
It's an easy watch. But yeah, so that's what we've been watching, or as we normally say, this is keeping us up at night. But this is just a catch up. We're not doing any of that.
This is pretty much just going to be a what's been keeping earworms up at creeping
earworms up at night.
What's been creeping earworms up at night?
Ooh.
Play all the sounds all together right now.
Sorry for your ears, folks. I hope we didn't blow out a speaker in your car.
Son of a bitch.
So, as we've mentioned a couple of times already, Jason Michael and I, and as you've already seen on Instagram and Facebook and stuff, Jason Michael and I braved the Silver Screen Con in Massachusetts a couple weekends ago. That was an experience.
Yeah. I feel like So I went to the first one 2 years ago, and it was in a hotel in like, I don't know, Charleston, and it was in a hotel, and it felt like there was way more room for shit. This year it was at the DCU in Worcester, Mass, and it felt like everything was thrown in one room,
Yeah.
like the main hall, and then just a panel area just off to the side of the entrance. It felt very small and very compact. And especially the fact of walking through there, it was like we were stuck behind people for like 20 seconds sometimes of just like, can somebody please just like spread? There's fucking 6 feet apart, social distancing.
Yeah.
God damn it.
There was a couple of people walking around with face masks on, and I was like, man,
Yep.
I should probably go to my car and grab one. Like, I thought about it for a second there. I was just like, I don't know about some of these people.
Yeah. There were some very interesting cosplays.
Mm-hmm.
We saw pretty much Art the Clown everywhere we could look.
A lot.
Because, yeah, that was, I think, just a month shy. And we are now
a week,
2 weeks away.
Yeah, somewhere around
a week.
There. It's the 11th.
Yeah,
so,
away from Terrifier 3 coming out. So, like, every booth you went to, that was like anything.
Yeah.
Minus some jewelry stands. But like Art the Clown, Terrifier, it was everywhere.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
it
I
pretty
think
much was his thing.
The coolest cosplay I saw there, and I'm regretting, you asked me 3 times, do you want me to get a picture? I'm really regretting. There was a guy walking around as Winnie the Pooh from Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and it was like the costume. It was really
pretty good.
Like really good. It wasn't like one of those like, oh yeah, I get what you're doing. Like it looked fucking screen worthy. Like Homeboy painted his eyes and shit. So like when he walked by, I mean, it was perfect. Literally when I got back home, I was sitting there and I was like, God damn it. I wish I just said yes, like, and gotten the picture with this dude, but that was fucking dope.
There was the NES purple Jason.
Yep.
Walking around with a sign that said, "Welcome to Camp Crystal Lake," and on the back it said, "You and your friends are dead. Game over." And like when people would want his picture, he'd just start pointing at the sign and being like, this is you.
Yeah. And the sign played the theme song, which was even cool.
Yeah, it did.
That was really dope. And if you want to see pictures of that, if you go to the Silver Scream Com Instagram, at least, I know it's probably on Facebook as well. There's photos of that guy. He did a good job. That was pretty dope.
Yeah, he did.
Speaking of the convention and the setup, I don't know if I'm really hoping this isn't like a new trend for conventions. My fiance and I went to a oddities convention in a convention center, and it was kind of the similar feel. They utilized all of the room a bit better at the oddities convention, but it was all still really cramped. As somebody who goes to a lot of horror conventions and conventions in general, I have always noticed that ones that are in hotels they're spaced out and flow so much better than ones in convention centers, because you're trying to make space work for things and making too much space for things that don't require that much space. So here's looking back at it. We got this awesome photo, as you've seen on our Instagram already, of us with Dr. Loomis's car. That was great. But the amount of space that was over in that area was completely unnecessary. Like there was so much room. And it was like the room that was left over for all of the vendors that was across the aisle was cramped. I'm like, you could have spread all of this out. Like there's plenty of room to spread all of this out. And you did not do that.
Yeah, there was a massive area in, like, if we're talking about where the food courts were, in the back left corner, there was just a giant chunk of dead space.
Unused space. And then they utilized, I mean, I get it. This is fucking Ice Nine Kills goddamn convention. They utilized this entire giant space for screen use shit from their music videos.
It looked like they were expecting that to draw, like, half of the people in attendance. It was spaced out so much.
Yeah, and there was no one over there.
Yeah.
Oh man, the layout was just weird. The panels were in the fucking lobby of the convention center, which was strange.
And that was cramped. It was like right in front of elevators or escalators.
Yeah, it was a very strange layout. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. This is their third year doing this. From my experience, most horror conventions try a few things the first like 4 to 5 years until they find what works for them. Every once in a while, a convention hits the nail on the head year one. Looking at you, Creature Feature Weekend. Like, they have been using the same hotel. The layout's the same. The layout kicks ass. They have, a vendor room. The hallways are for vendors. Then they have an entire giant separate room for, the celebrities and stuff. It works really, really, really well. Only on like Saturday afternoonish is there a little bit of a traffic jam, but the traffic fucking flows really well at Creature Feature. This one, not so much. Depending on what the outcome is, where they end up landing next year, maybe I'll go. I
Depends on who's there or what's there.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
that's why I didn't go to the second one. There wasn't enough draw for me personally.
I mean, there was the few celebrities dropped off that I know we were both excited to see. Leatherface, for example, was going to be there, and they dropped off.
Danny Trejo,
yep. I mean, they added Eli Roth, which I was super amped to meet, and then I don't know. I get amped to meet these people, and then realize I'm about to meet a hero. You know what I mean? And never heard anything negative about David Howard Thornton. And so meeting him was like, oh, this will be great. And we've seen interviews and heard interviews with him, and he's a genuinely nice person. Same with Damien Leone. Like, all of these people, not worried about meeting, but I've heard such mixed things about Eli Roth that my worry was I was going to walk up and the few negative things I heard about him were going to be true. And so I just was like, fuck it. I'm not even going to bother. There's no reason. So I didn't go over. But what was other than our hauls of things that we got and brought home with us?
Yeah.
What was your takeaway from the con?
I mean, I've done a few conventions. I did a bunch when I was younger. Like, I met the original Lurch. That's where I met Ben Chapman. And like, those I didn't really entirely remember because I was a kid. But like, those felt fun. Those felt cool. I would definitely say the first one of this was very, very strong. They came out the gate with like massive heavy hitters. They had Kane Hodder, Doug Bradley, Felissa Rose, Nick Castle, James Jude Courtney, Ari Lehman. They had so many heavy hitters. The second year, personally, there was only like Tony Todd. At Silver Scream Con, like I was talking about, it's like, I would love to say hi to Nick Castle and James Jude Courtney again, but at the same point, it's like, I have that picture, I have that memory, I have that hello.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I need to go over there and say it again. It is cool to walk by and go, it's fucking Michael Myers. But yeah, I don't think I need to hammer that home. Maybe again, it'll be like, you know what? I'll go say hi to him again, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But definitely the main draw of this one was the Terrifier crew.
Everyone was there.
Lauren, Elliot, there was Damien, Amelie, the pale little girl, pale girl.
Pale girl.
Yep.
Yeah.
Damien was there, and David Howard Thornton, of course. The layout was weird in this corner.
The layout was weird for the celebrities in general. Like, I feel like they misplaced, like certain people were placed in the wrong places. There was like a giant area that was like a big square that had celebrities on either side of it. And this was supposed to be the area that was like the heavy hitters, the people that are going to draw the most, the most crowd. And it
was like
in
4 people.
Yeah. In retrospect, they weren't drawing that much, but then there were 2 aisles like set away from it that had other celebrities in it. And they had lines, and they put the heavy hitters that, at least for us, in our opinion, they put the actual heavy hitters elsewhere, like on those separated aisles. So like
Nick Castle, James Jude Courtney, Derek Mears, Bill Moseley.
Bill Moseley was over there. Danielle Harris.
Scout Taylor Compton.
Yeah. And they should have been over in that big square, because that whole area would have been jam-packed, and it probably would have worked a bit better instead of holding up traffic. Because
deep in that circle, there was Sean Cunningham.
Yep.
There was Eli Roth.
Yep.
So it was Sean, if you're looking into it straight ahead, Eli Roth was on the right wall, which had everybody of the Terrifier crew. And it ended with David Howard Thornton.
Yeah.
So Art the Clown was the end. On the other side, I can't even remember up until David Arquette and Spencer Shalalala from Ice Nine Kills. So putting the lead singer of the band who's putting on the convention and Art the Clown, obviously now the biggest horror icon of the time right now. And those being the choke points, it was a traffic jam in that area. They were the last ones, and the line for Spencer was the same length all day long.
Yeah.
And David Howard Thornton was also long.
Devin Sawa was over there as well. And it made me sad because there was no one there. And he was the other one.
Jamie Kennedy.
Yep, Jamie Kennedy was there right next to him. Yeah, I would have loved to meet Devin Sawa, but at the same time, I was just like, I just don't. There's no benefit in getting spending $90 to get an autograph. A photo would be dope, but I don't know. It's one of those weird things. Like, I felt bad because there was no one over there, and I was like, oh, it'd be really cool to go over and get a photo with him and be like, hey, Final Destination was great, but you kick ass in the Chucky series. But at the same time, it was like, all right, cool. I got a photo. I post it. And then I just have, I have a photo of it and the memory. I'm so much more of a memory person as events. Like, I try and be more present in taking photos, which I did almost none of. No, I did exactly none of for this convention. Like, I took my phone out a handful of times. But yeah, I mean, at least for me, I think the biggest takeaway for being there was meeting Josh Levesque in person. If you guys don't know the name, go back to season 1. He was our guest for season 1. We did a double feature on The Last House on the Left. And that was kind of a heavy emotional one. He is now, I mean, to me, he was, TikTok horror royalty back during season 1, even though he had a handful of 100 followers at that point. Now he's big in it. And him and his wife flew out from California to be here because they've gone to all of them so far. And they're huge Ice Nine Kills fans. So again, on our Instagram, you can see the picture of the three of us together. But Josh is just an awesome dude. He was great. It was awesome to meet him face to face, in real life, not just over a chat. But him and his wife Kimmy, we had great talk, man. He's a great dude. He interviewed us, which was cool. Yeah. But yeah, it was super cool to meet him face to face and get to chat and catch up. And I hope we get to chat with him again and potentially have him back on. And he is on a podcast as well, one that's a lot bigger than ours. But yeah, you can if you love Creeporama and you love the merchandise they make, they also have a podcast. And if you do follow Josh on TikTok and you want to hear him give more talk, you can go listen to the Creeporama podcast. It's a rather entertaining podcast. But if you don't follow Josh Levesque on TikTok, what are you doing with your life? Go follow him. He puts out some really great content. But yeah, he gives you some interesting movie selections and some really, really good ones too. So, but yeah, I think it was awesome. That was. Honestly, it was meeting him and getting to spend an entire day walking around a horror convention with you, Jason Michael. That's me. Yeah, it made the experience worth it and actually fun. So
yeah, I can definitely relate to that because sometimes where it's just, say for example, the best thing I could think of is I've played some really shit video games, but when you play them multiplayer and it's you and a friend and you just rag on shit together and you're like, this has been fun. This has all been worth it.
Yeah.
Or watching shit movies and, turning them into a podcast. Scream 6. Zing, bringing it back.
Yeah. Or an episode we'll be doing in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, it's you can experience a shit experience, but the people that you're with can make that shit experience a memorably amazing experience.
I'm sorry. I'm just laughing at your pausing.
Yeah.
You can experience a shit. Yes. Yes, you can.
It's funny too. Going to this one did not necessarily fully scratch the itch of me wanting to be back at a convention, but definitely did light the fire that I'm like, all right, I gotta go to more. I love going to them. I love being around our people. And the collector in me just goes knucking futz over this stuff. I get so excited.
Yeah, you did.
I got a really cool Evil Dead shirt. So I love
and you'll
it.
see pictures of them on our Instagram.
Yeah. I'll get once it's
share the
washed, haul. Yeah. I'll wear it and I'll do a little photo shoot. Speaking of shirts and photo shoots, to anyone who actually goes ahead and uses code SLEEPOVER to save that 15% to buy any of our merchandise at Gore Clown, please take photos of you wearing the shirt and or hat. Send it to us. We will post them on our Instagram. We're going to do like a little these are our suckers post, potentially more than one. But yeah, if you get the shirts, if you get the shirt, there's only one so far. If you get the hat,
so far,
there's only one so far. But the colder season is coming up, and a trucker hat might not be the warmest thing to wear. So just be prepared, folks. But yeah, if you do grab any of those, please take photos and we will post them. We would love to see you guys in the beautiful merchandise that Seamus Belial has so lovingly and caretakingly put all of his hate, love, blood, sweat, and tears into those designs.
And hopefully that's all.
Yeah, hopefully. But you never know if you've read his books.
True.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I'm beyond excited to be back, dude. Like, I have been counting down the days to be like, oh, we're so close to being back recording, talking spooky with my brother from another mother. I'm so excited for this. This season's going to be great.
It's going to be spooky.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is the tail end. We still have quite a bit of movie to talk about. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 movies left in my run. And I think I might do, maybe we'll do a little quick chat about the Chucky series. I'm not going to spoil it. Plot points will definitely be spoiled because I'm not going to hold back explaining the seasons that have come out, because it is, especially the last season, it is fucking insane. But it is great, and it is part of the canon. There is no gap other than like a couple of years, there's no like gap in this story for the continuing of it. And that's why just fucking fantastic. The best writing ever. So yeah. And then Jason Michael, you have a bunch of Universal and some Michael Myers that we still have to cover.
Yep. I've got 2 more Universal monsters, and then there's all 4 of the Halloween new canon. So that includes 78 and then 18 through Kills and Ends. And
then once we have come to a close, we will then reveal, and yes, it is a reveal. We will be revealing season 3. We are going to take a very small break in between, probably about a 4-week or month break to just kind of give ourselves the time. We've mentioned it time and time again in this podcast, but Spoiler Sleepover is a themed season podcast. So the season 3 theme will be revealed at the end of season 2. And I'm excited. Jason Michael is a little apprehensive about this.
I don't know if we'd use the term a little.
I thought you were going to say, I don't know if we use the term apprehensive. And I was be like,
or excited.
My brain, this is season 3 is my brainchild. I promise you season 4 Jason Michael will take the reins and bring the theme for 4. But for 3, man, I have had a ball planning this one out, and it is going to
leaves me very, very worried.
It's going to be a shit show.
Yeah.
So excited.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We're not going to know anything, and it's going to be just pure hate.
Yep. There's going to be great. So, I really do hope y'all enjoyed our spooky season theme song. I worked pretty hard on it. I hope you enjoy it very much so. And maybe there'll be more themes to come.
Spooky.
All right, folks. Well, that was our little, keeping up with the spoiler sleepover hosts episode. That wasn't very smooth, but hey, we'll run with it. Next week, we're officially back with our first spoiler of the second half of the season, the closing of the season, if you will. And it's going to be a good one. So please do not forget to jump over to Gore Clown, use code SLEEPOVER at checkout, and save 15% on your entire purchase. That is the only place that you can get the official Spoiler Sleepover merchandise. I'm excited.
Officially official, baby.
Officially. I'm excited, but until next week. Sleep tight, suckers.
We both went underjaw. Spoiler Sleepover is sponsored by Gore Clown Shop.
Do you love all things horror? Books? Movies? Podcasts? Of course you do. Well, come on down to goreclown.com.
Original artwork by an indie horror fan for indie horror fans.
Use code SLEEPOVER at checkout to save 15% on your whole purchase.
Oh, and did we mention? Gore Clown is the only place to get official Spoiler Sleepover merch.
So don't forget to use Sleepover to save 15%.
Stay indie, suckers.